Talia, how do you guys make sure that you stay focused on basketball when there's a lot of other things going on here?
I think it's important, first of all, to make sure that we enjoy it, as coaches had just said. But once it comes time to focus on basketball, we've been really good at making sure we lock in when the time is permits. So, after we just finished that practice, that was probably like the last bit of not fun, but enjoying it as much as we have been. And I'd say right now is the time that we start focusing on Syracuse.
Question right here in the front.
As David Woods of the Indianapolis Star for Chantel. How did you master your flat-footed set shot, and what have been the more amusing suggestions to you for how to change it?
Well, I didn't really master it. I've been just doing it. I guess you could say it's a God-given talent. If you don't like it, then I guess it's not a talent to you. But people always tell me I gotta jump. I mean, that's number one. But a lot of people tell me I need to my arc needs to go way higher, and I just tell them, don't fix what's not broken. So I just let people say it, and I just laugh.
Question right here.
Creighton Ravs from Hero Sports. Direct this to Kelsey. You've had a rather impressive offensive output this season. I think you haven't had a game where you haven't reached double figures. Talk us through what's been flowing for you this season.
Well, I'm really grateful to play in an offense where spacing is so good, and I'm allowed to kind of play, I call it downhill, because you have to get out on Chantel as the trail three. You have to stay locked on Talia in the corner. And Lex has been shooting like 45% from the field as well. So you have to stay locked on Lex, and then Katie is down by the end of the basket, and if you leave her, she's going to get a layup. So it's because of my teammates and how talented they are. The spacing has allowed me to get a lot of good opportunities.
Question right here, Michelle.
Kelsey, as a follow-up, I think I read a quote from San Diego paper this week that said that you said coming to Washington was a leap of faith. Will you talk about that a little bit? What kind of a leap was it, and how much faith did you have that you guys might end up someplace like this?
Well, at the time I chose Washington, they weren't the top of the conference, and they hadn't made to the tournament in, I'm not really sure, maybe 10 years. And then we just had a new coach. Coach Kevin McGuff came in, and he recruited me along with Coach Neighbors. So it wasn't like a sure thing that anything was going to happen, but I just thought the pieces were right, the teammates were perfect, the system was great, and I love the city of Seattle. So, it was a leap of faith, though.
Question right here.
Paul Schwelson, the Daily Orange. For Kelsey, how have you seen Alexis actually step up, the past few games, and how big of a boost has she given the team?
Alexis has been absolutely tremendous in our success. She and T are at the top of that zone, and they cause a lot of havoc. Lex just hustles. She gets those 50-50 balls. She gets big rebounds. And then in addition, she's just knocked down shots. It's been amazing, her growth throughout the season and her ability to be able to step into a role that she didn't start out being, and she's done it absolutely brilliantly. So credit to Lex for being able to kind of come into her own, and she's a big part of why we're here.
Right here.
Hi, Kelsey. Howard McDowell from Excel Sports. You've been a scorer throughout your collegiate career, but your steals rate has gone up each of the years you've been playing. I'm just curious, what do you think is responsible for sort of your defensive evolution, how you go to balance that between that and obviously carrying a heavy workload on the offensive end?
Well, as the process has gone on, I've tried to pay a lot more attention to my defense. Over the past, maybe my freshman, sophomore year, I didn't put a lot of effort into it necessarily because I was so focused on other things, when really I started to grow and realize, defense is what matters, and that's how you're going to win games. And so I just think watching a lot of film with my guards coach, Coach Castro, just being in the right position helps. And then, just as you grow older, you see a little bit better things, have better vision, and then just making plays on the defensive end. And I guess that's all I can say about that.
Question in the back there.
Tim Lewis with Como. This can go to all three of you, and I don't want to take away from you being serious, but I know there was a lot of anticipation coming here to the Final Four and the experience you were going to have. Maybe all of you can just touch on how this experience has been for all of you so far.
Do you want to take that first, Talia?
Sure.
Thanks.
It's been awesome. Obviously, being able to end my collegiate career, coming to the Final Four is probably the best way I could go out with my teammates and the coaching staff and the people that I'm surrounded with to do this with is makes it even more special. So it's been a lot of fun. I've done a lot of things here that I've done for the first time, and this is going to be an experience that I remember for the rest of my life.
Kelsey?
To add on to that what she said, and I'm excited about all the free stuff we get. We just got a GoPro in the locker room like 5 minutes ago, and some shoes, and some socks. Everybody needed socks, so that was good. But I think that's something that I'll definitely take away from this.
Chantel?
That's it. That's good.
Question right there.
Connor Grossman, Daily Orange. Chantel, as a player who's very versatile and capable of many different things on the court, shooting behind the arc, rebounding, is there a particular facet of your game that you pride yourself in, or a particular facet of your game you enjoy more so than others?
I think for a long time it's always been my passing, but I think it's equally now my passing and my rebounding. I've gotten really good at rebounding. I just kind of have a knack for the ball, but I love to pass the ball.
Question right next to him.
For Kelsey, obviously you played Syracuse earlier in the year, but outside of that, have you seen any defenses that are similar to Syracuse? And I guess how difficult is it going against a defense like that?
Well, Syracuse is a very good defensive team. They're very athletic. They cause a lot of havoc in the full court and the half court. Their zone is tough. It's kind of a run and gun jump zone, and they're always trying to turn the ball over. Similar to that, I would kind of say we've played teams in the Pac-12 that have similar athleticism, UCLA and Arizona State, that really try to, turn you over, and put a lot of pressure on you. So I think that conference has really prepared us for this game, and we're excited about it.
Question right there.
Lindsay Schnell, Sports Illustrated. Chantal, to go off, what you said about you love to pass the ball. You have an incredibly high basketball IQ that's very clear when people watch you. Does that come from being, is that a God-given thing, or did you study the game a lot when you were little? Do you have a favorite passer?
It's kind of both. I think the game kind of comes to me really easy, but I do study the game. I watch a ton of basketball. Whether it's film on other teams or whether it's just watching basketball games. Whenever basketball game's on, I'm probably watching it if I'm not in school or if we're not in practice. I wouldn't really say I have a favorite passer. Maybe you could say Kevin Love. He's got those outlet passes that are pretty good, but yeah.
Question right behind her.
Matt Calkins, Seattle Times. Chantel, we talked a couple weeks or last week about Rebecca Lobo, tweeting you, and since then I think I've seen a story on Deadspin. I've seen Chris Webber shout out to you on Twitter.
He didn't.
I think I did. Yeah. What's the coolest compliment or?
You forgot sport.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sports Science did a thing on it too.
I think that's probably the coolest. Today, our media guy Ricky, he came to me and said they have a Sports Science thing on me, so I watched it. You guys should go look at it. It's pretty awesome.
Question right here. We have time for two more.
Maybe Talia could speak to this as a senior. The word improbable has been used for you all's arrival in the Final Four, and certainly only 12 brackets predicted you guys to be here. Is there anything in particular you can say pushed you over, especially in the Kentucky and the Stanford games, that pushed you over, brought you together? How did you guys get here?
Well, first of all, I think we need to find those 12 people that have those brackets
Hey.
and come up with something, because that's rare. Is that 2%? Or 0.2?
0.2.
Yeah. Well, thank you to them. But our togetherness and our oneness has been phenomenal. I've been here 5 years, and so that's technically, I guess, 5 different teams, 5 different groups, and I've never been on a team with the chemistry that's as tight as it is here, and that bond and that vibe that we have with one another. And so, obviously, like you said, 12 out of how many brackets in the country put in about this for this women's tournament, and so we had all odds against, like you said, improbable. Nobody probably believed that we'd be here, and we didn't really worry about that at all whatsoever. We didn't care about the outside influences. Our coaches, our trainers, our managers, and us, our team, we believed, and that's why we're here.
One final question for the student athletes here.
Thanks. Kelsey, as someone who was part of the game last summer, the Pan Am Games, USA Canada, I'm just wondering what perspective that gave you on what, if anything, to be done to stop Brianna Stewart, Mariah Jefferson, number one, and number two, whether the fact that Ruth and Jamie, both being Canadian, if that gives them, you think, an edge going into tomorrow night's matchup.
That's an interesting question. Well, I think, first off, the Pan Am Games really helped me for my experience going into this year, being a better leader and a better basketball player. And then in addition to that, Stewie and Mo are phenomenal players, and they've been here before, so that experience is something that is very valuable in a setting like this. But I think they're going up against a team in Ruth and Jamie and Sid that they're very different. You don't really know how good they are until you step on the court and realize, for me personally, when I drive in and go against Ruth, she's a big girl. You can't really get in the paint. So I think it's going to be an interesting matchup to watch them and see how UConn kind of counters that, because that really can change the game. But I feel like if anyone can do it, Oregon State can. I believe in the Pac-12. I believe in Oregon State.
Thank you, ladies. You can go back to the locker room now. They will be available until 4:30.